Okay, class, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to cut out a box out of paper, and it's called a Gable box. And the reason they call it a Gable box is it's got this little peak here. I don't know if you know this, but houses, this little triangle on a house, that's called the Gable. Okay, so this is a type of box. It's called a Gable box. And what's kind of nice about it, if you open this up, you can open the box like this, okay? This one's falling apart a little bit. We're going to be making just a little prototype. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to get the prototype like this, okay? And the first thing we're going to do is cut it out. So I'm going to cut it out as quick as I can here. So bear with me. Be nice and neat. And then the lines that are on the inside are fold lines. And I'm going to show you how to fold those, okay? So here we go. And I just quickly cut this out. Now there's some areas like right in here, that's going to be a little slit. I'll cut that out right later with an X-Acto knife. So I'll show you how to do that. So bear with me on the cutting out right now. But if you were watching this on YouTube, you could speed me up and you wouldn't have to watch me cut stuff out. Now, whenever I'm cutting things out, I try to make things easier for myself. So like here, I'm just going to cut from here to here quick, and I'll cut from there to there. And then I'll come back in over here. Don't make your hand do weird things. Make sure you're doing something so it becomes pretty easy. Like this is a straight cut right here. I'm just going to go straight across here first. That's way easier than trying to go in that little area. I'm going to get rid of that piece of paper. I'm going to make this little curve right there. Got it? So what we're going to be doing is cutting out the main features of your box. Now, if you want to make a box that's not a Gable box, really easy to do. You can find a template online for just about any box that you want. So if you want a box that looks like one of those boxes that like Chinese food comes in, you could probably make a box like that, or a rectangular box or whatever. Just find the template, and then you can run that off. You can run a copy of that, and then we'll draw your own template in Illustrator. And I'll show you how to do that. It's not hard. You just got to make sure you're accurate with the sizes, so when you fold it up, it all fits together. Okay? So I found this box online, and it should save you some time since this is our prototype. Okay? So really quick here, I'm going to cut that out. Okay, next, I'm not going to waste time and watch me cut the whole thing out, I don't think, because it seems to be taking me longer than I thought it would. So that piece, oh, I just did a bad thing. Anyhow, so keep cutting out like that. You get the idea. Do a better job than I just did. And go right across the top here, and so on. Okay, now, let's pretend I got this whole thing cut out, all around all these places. Now I need to fold it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to score a line with an X-Acto knife. So I'm going to get an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to score a new line on that X-Acto knife. Now, here's an X-Acto knife, okay? And I also need to cut on something that I'm not going to cut the table up with. I'm talking louder because I'm getting away from my camera. I want to make sure that I don't cut the table. So this is a piece of old mat board. It's pretty thick, okay? And what I'm going to do is place this underneath where I'm working, because I don't want to cut the table and I don't want to dull my blade. So here's my X-Acto blade, except this X-Acto blade is really pretty dull right now, okay? So this is how you change the blade. So let's move this over like so. Take the blade, you unscrew this thing, unscrew this a little bit, and then in that little slot there, right in this little slot here, that's where the blade's going to go. So I got some new blades that you can put in. And so here's the blade. When I put that in, I'm going to put this in the little slot right here. It's a little tricky. Put it in the little slot. Then I tighten this up. Tighten that up right there, and I'm ready to go. Now, a couple things. If I want to cut on a straight line, my hand might be waving all over the place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a ruler as a guide. So I've got some metal rulers, and what I'm going to do is make a cut along that ruler. Now, typically, if I was cutting something and I didn't care about the other side, that way if I veer away from the ruler and I cut into an area, that's not going to really hurt me. But in this case, I don't want to cut into the area. Now, the other thing is, if I use my X-Acto knife to cut on this line right now, what's going to happen is I'm just going to cut that part off. I don't want to cut it off. I just want to score it so I can fold it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the back of this. I'm going to cut, normally you'd cut like this. This is the blade. I'm going to cut on the back side. And I'm not cutting, I'm just creasing the paper. So I'm going to hold my ruler down here. Now a little trick. Sometimes these rulers move really easily. Okay, I'm going to share a little trick that I do. I shouldn't say a trick. I'm just going to do this and put a little tape on the back of the ruler. Just a couple pieces of tape. Just prevent that ruler from sliding around. Okay, and then later you just pull the tape off. No big deal. Okay, so here we go. Tape's on the ruler. I'm going to lay this down like so. Just like that. Get it to line up. And then I'm going to take the back of my blade and I'm going to score a line right here. The line did not go through the paper. It just put a dent in the paper. Oops, looks like my tape came off. I didn't want that to happen. Okay, so now when I want to fold this later, you can see it'll fold perfectly right on that line because I scored that line there. Got it? So basically, in your design, here's the prototype that I went off of. All the outside lines you're just going to cut out, okay? And you cut those out with the scissors for the most part. But you could use an X-Acto knife, let's say for this little area here, here, and over here. And if you want the handle to be in there, you can cut it out with an X-Acto knife too, okay? But I don't care if the handle's there for this because we're just doing a prototype. So here was my previous prototype, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like here. So here was the one that we made previously. Just pulling it apart. Here it was. It's been scored in all the places, okay? Needs to be folded up. Now, what I'm going to do is this. This little flap here, I need to glue that in place, okay? Now, I could put glue on here and hold it, okay? That's going to take a while. Or you can use rubber cement and do something called dry mounting. And let me show you what that is, okay? So my rubber cement, which is right here, here's rubber cement. And what that does is when I rubber cement something, I'm just going to take a little scrap like this piece of paper here. Okay? If I put rubber cement on one area and on another area like that, rubber cement on both these, okay? If I let that dry, so it's going to take a second to dry. I'm just going to wave them around and hopefully they dry up pretty quick. Okay? Or blow on them like so. Now this rubber cement is dry. Rubber cement that's dry doesn't stick very well. Okay? But rubber cement that's dry sticks really well to other rubber cement that's dry. So if I slap these two dry pieces together, they stick really well. Okay? So when I'm putting these flaps together, what I'm going to do is put a little rubber cement on this area here and a little rubber cement on the back of this flap. Okay? And I'm going to let those dry. So it shouldn't take very long. Dries pretty quick. Like that, okay? And then what I'm going to do is just press this on top here. Be careful, line it up, and it should stick pretty well. Okay? So I just pushed that on there, and it stuck pretty well. Okay? Now to secure that, you could put a little piece of tape on the inside. So I'm just going to take a little piece of tape like this, and then go inside the box and tape that up. Got that? So you can see how that works. So I put a little rubber cement on those flaps. These flaps are made to kind of overlap each other and go inside like that. And then when I'm done, I'll get my box put together. Got it? You're not doing anything with the top. You're just really putting rubber cement on that one flap right there. Got that? So once again, first things first, cut it out. Second thing, if you need the X-Acto knife to cut out things like the slits, you can do that. And then turn the X-Acto knife backwards and score on these lines that are dotted. Got that? Because those are places you're going to fold the box on. Now what you're going to be doing is designing your own box later, and I have this in a template in Illustrator. So what you'll be able to do in Illustrator is this. You'll be able to decide what colors you want. So you might say, I want a red box. You're going to click red there, 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 and you got a red box all the way across. Or maybe you want it red here, white on the side, red on the back, white on the other side. Or maybe you want white up here and you want red down here. So you can click and choose the colors you want. Your graphics could be, you could have some graphics here on the side, here, here. You could have 4 different things on here if you wanted to, or you might have some graphics that actually go from the front and right onto the side. In which case, you might have this front one color and the side the same color. Got that? So there's a lot of things to consider when you're designing your box, which colors are going to go where. Don't really need colors on the bottom because they'll be on the bottom of the box, but no reason you can't put colors on the bottom too. In case your box falls over, it still looks good on the bottom. Okay? So that's what we're doing.